Hello. Well, welcome back. A lot of people have been asking me my opinion on this, so I think it's finally time that I speak out and tell you what is the best bug. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. You're thinking, is this really something that you're qualified to talk about? Well, the answer is yes. I would love to tell you all about what the best bug is. But first, let's get a couple of things clear. What exactly is a bug? Well, for me personally, to be a bug, you need to have 4 main criteria. And you gotta check these things off, or else you're not a real bug. Okay, so the first thing is you gotta look pretty gross. You don't really look at a bug and think, wow, this looks awesome. You see a bug and you're like, okay, this is gross. Second thing is that bugs normally are small unless it's dinosaur time. So like back in the, 10 bajillion years ago when the dinosaurs were running around, you had mosquitoes the size of buses and stuff, and like dragonflies that would like suck your brains out or something. But nowadays we don't have that anymore. Changing atmosphere, changing all that sort of thing. So now bugs are pretty small, and so to be a bug you can't be like a giant, 6-7 foot long thing. So you have to be small if you want to be a bug. Now the third thing is you actually most of the time would make someone scream. So if you were a bug, someone saw you, they would probably scream. Now this isn't to say all bugs are disgusting, even though that is kind of what I accidentally said in number 1, but the point of this is that your instinctual reaction to seeing a bug is probably to scream, or at least to back away in fear. So that's the first 3 things. Now the last thing is actually you have to be an invertebrate with 6 legs, or an insect. So I'm sorry to all my fans out there who love spiders.
The way he leaps off of rooftops and flips backwards to face the camera before falling into a headfirst dive is just full of the exaggerated swagger.
We will not be talking about spiders. However, if you want me to make a follow-up video about spiders, leave that in the comment section below. I would be more than willing to share my incredible thoughts on spiders. Now that we have that under the way, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I am a bug expert, and as you can see, I have a whole team here who really specialize in bugs, and we worked really hard on this presentation that we're giving to you today, just to sort of explain to you not only why it is that you should care about these bugs, but we really just do want to delve into the center of this issue and explain to you what is the best bug, what are we looking for when we say best bug, and is there even a best bug, or is it a tie? Spoiler alert, it's not. There is a best bug, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So just know we had a really great team. We have, honestly, I'm so honored to be able to work with all these great people on finding you the best bugs. So here's a little thing that you might not know about me. I'm scared of bugs, to be honest. And I don't really think it's a controversial take. I know a lot of people are scared of bugs. As we discussed earlier here, I'll back up a couple slides. If you looked at number 1 and 3 on this slide, you would understand bugs are not exactly the most, friendly thing to look at, to put it nicely. So yes, it is true. Me personally, I'm scared of bugs. In fact, the other day I saw a bug on my floor, and my instinct was to pretend that I didn't see it and ignore it. And that worked pretty well for me. And that's sort of a little bit of the reason why I wanted to sort of make this video, to sort of just kind of bridge the gap between humans and bugs and help everyone understand why it is that we need to be respecting these bugs so much more, and also to crown the winner of what the best bug is. But if you're afraid of bugs, I would recommend watching this video. I guess I would recommend watching this video because it's really going to help you get over your fear. And trigger warning, yes, there will be photos of bugs in this, but no, I don't have anything to say. There's going to be photos of bugs in this, so if you're scared of bugs, don't watch this video. Okay, so actually before we begin, there is something that I do kind of want to get off my plate that I haven't been totally honest with you. there are some bad bugs out there. And these bugs, this is not an exhaustive list, but I've just compiled a couple of bugs that aren't great. So this includes loud flies that buzz, especially ones that are, you know, flying over your head at like 10 p.m. or like midnight or something. You're just trying to sleep. And if there's a loud fly that's buzzing, it will love to just buzz right into your ears. And I don't really think that those bugs should be considered to be the best. If you disagree with me, that's okay. If you like buzzing flies, like, good for you, but just me personally. Wasp and hornets, I am putting them in the same spot. They sting you, they're frightening. I just wouldn't recommend that, and I wouldn't really wish a wasp or a hornet on anyone. I mean, they're cool, but the sting, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Bugs in your basement, I don't know if any of you guys have experienced this, but basically every time you go into your basement, whatever the bug is that you see there, it's going to be the scariest thing you've seen in your entire life. We're talking bugs with upwards of 250,000 legs. We're talking about bugs that are incredibly long, or they have really long legs, and daddy long legs, if anyone knows what those are. Cockroaches, those exist. Basically, water bugs, stink bugs. Yeah, so basically anything that you would find in a basement, we're not going to include in this list because those are some of the most frightening things you will ever experience. And you're just in your basement. You're trying to get like a photo album or like a bike from out of your basement or something. Like, you're not really trying to stay a long time there, and the bug knows that. So that's where the scariest bugs like to set up shop. And of course, no bug video would be complete without mentioning ticks and mosquitoes. Now, I know this is a bit of a controversial topic, but I actually don't really like mosquitoes. I think that the whole thing of like blood sucking is a little bit overrated. I just don't love the idea of a bug landing on me and then sucking the blood out of me. And there's some people who will like get a mosquito on them and they'll be like, oh, check this out. And they'll like flex their arm, and then like you'll watch like the mosquito like blow up and explode, and I just think that's incredibly disgusting. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. And ticks, anyone who's gotten bitten by a tick knows, for whatever reason, they latch on. Like, you gotta like take a freaking tweezers and like rip them off, and like their teeth like chew your skin, and it's awful. If you ever get bitten by a tick, it's a horrible experience. It happened to me once. It was not fun. It was huge too. It was like this big, which, I mean, okay, I know this is small, but like for a tick, it's big. That was not a fun night when that happened. And of course, I know there's a lot of fans in the audience out there who like fictional bugs, but we will only be discussing real bugs in this video. So this includes animated bugs, animated characters named bugs, animated ants, real ants, Ant-Man. Paul Rudd fans, I know, sorry, he's not going to be in this video. And bees, the fictional bees, but also I just didn't put real bees in here because I think bees, you know, people talk about them enough. I want to kind of highlight some of the lesser talked about bugs. So no bee movie, no bees, none of this, and no evil bugs. Okay. But we haven't even scratched the surface of some of the most terrifying, horrifying bugs. The worst bugs you will ever encounter is anything you learn about bugs when you're in biology class in high school, okay? I don't know if this is an experience just me in the high school I went to, but I feel like we would just learn about these crazy bugs, and it would be really the most scary things. This includes bugs that kill other bugs and then lay the eggs inside of those bugs, and then the babies, they hatch from the eggs, and then they eat the inside of the bug when they hatch. And then your teacher is like, so guys, doesn't that sound awesome? And I was like, I'm not in love with that, to be honest. And your teacher's like, well, watch this. And then we like watched a video of that happening. And if my biology teacher is watching this video, just know I loved your class. But the part about bugs, I did close my eyes when we watched that video, so I'm sorry about that. And the other thing to mention with biology class and bugs is you also learn about fungus. There's the fungus that like controls a bug, and it like gets inside of the bug's brain, and then it forces it up to like climb like a really tall leaf and like get up really high so that it can like spread the fungus more, and then like the fungus will like sprout out of the like bug's head. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, please just drop a comment. Tell me your favorite horrifying bug story about fungus bugs. I know the fungus bug gang is probably going to be watching this, so sorry, but yeah, no, that terrifies me. That's actually so, like, I Googled for researching this, I Googled that and I saw the images and I like had to immediately close the tab. I just can't look at that sort of thing. Okay, but now that we got that out of the way, let's actually talk about some good bugs, finally. Okay, so when you think good bugs, I'm assuming you're thinking of at least one of these four, if not all four. A ladybug, first of all, they're a classic bug, you know, and I think they're good luck. I don't totally know, but like if you see a ladybug, you feel happy, so that's gotta count for something. And they eat aphids, which is really great. The I would say, with ladybugs, the main con is that you can't tell if they're dead. And they kind of just like leave the shell of the ladybug behind, and you see it and you're like, oh, ladybug, that's awesome. And then you like look close and you're like, well, it's not moving. And then you like go and like almost get near it, but you don't want to touch it. But then it just like falls off the whatever like surface it was stuck to, and it's kind of scary. So that's the drawback to a ladybug. Now, roly-polies, or depending on where you live, you'll either call it a roly-poly or a pill bug. The names are interchangeable. It's the same thing. Me personally, I grew up calling it a roly-poly because pill bug I just don't think is a fair name to them, because yes, roly-polies, you touch them and they roll up into a ball, and then you can like do this with it. You can put it in your hand and like, you know, roll it around, and then you like release it like it's a Beyblade or a Pokeball or something. And so that has an inherent whimsy to it, and they have those cute little antennae and they just kind of crawl around, and that's what they do. I'm sure they serve some other like biological purpose, like they have a niche, and I'm sure they, you know, do something good for the environment, but that's what I know them. And they are like a common pet. Like they're fun to like keep around for a minute and roll them around and then release them. The con to that, I would say, is I don't know if this is animal abuse, because they do this as like a defense mechanism, surely. So if you're like poking a bug, you're definitely traumatizing it to play with it, which I'm not in love with. Then of course, butterfly. Now, I'm gonna be honest, if you say your favorite bug is a butterfly, you're a little bit basic. But it's okay, because I mean, people love them for a reason. Okay, they're pretty looking. They have a super long tongue. I believe they call that a proboscis in the industry.
Proboscis. Really
long tongue. They like nectar. And they do metamorphosis, which, you know, you can't really compete with. That's a pretty cool thing. You start as caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly. We all know the drill. The cons, I don't actually think they're a bug. Someone can fact check me on that. I'm pretty sure they're not a bug. The other con is metamorphosis. It's actually really horrifying to think about. Like, they liquefy themselves and then, like, reformulate themselves in the chrysalis. Like, if y'all haven't really been keeping up with what happens with butterflies, you should do some Googling into that, because it's actually kind of disgusting when you really think about metamorphosis. And last but not least, I gotta admit, this is one of my personal favorites, and it's the firefly. They're beautiful, and they're a perfect example of teamwork, which is really cool. They're nature's light show, which is awesome. You know, if you see a big group of them and they're all flashing at it's just so beautiful. And night vision, you don't need a flashlight. You can just have a firefly light the way. The cons, they're really only enjoyable at night. If you see a firefly during the day, it's like kind of cool, but it's like, what does it do during the day? It just kind of flies around and it's just like a regular looking bug. It's not really till the night where they start getting super cool and interesting. The other con is there's a worrying trend. I don't know if people still do this, but everyone talks, you know, it's in movies and stuff, of animal abuse. Like, you take a firefly and you put it in a jar, and you put a bunch of fireflies in a jar and you like shake it, and then the fireflies start flashing. That's gotta be animal abuse. Like, we can't be doing that. And I'll be proud to admit, I've never done that before. I have always respected fireflies. I view them from a distance. Sometimes I think like I've gotten one to land on my finger and I'll go, oh, that's cool, and I'll put them back on a leaf. Don't put fireflies in jars. That's got to be awful for them, you know? But we do have actually a couple of underdogs today and what we're going to be talking about. The first is the cricket. And the thing with the cricket is they're so loud. If it's summertime and there's a cricket near you, you will know. They will make themselves heard. They're super loud. But it's like a nostalgic noise, and it's pretty nice. So that's why they're on the list. They're pretty good. Grasshoppers, I don't know why I really included them. They're honestly one of the scariest bugs, especially like the bigger ones. They're really like they like rip heads off of stuff. That's a thing. They get in fights. I think they're like evil, to be honest. And of course, ants. I wouldn't be able to, I can't make a bug video without talking about ants at least once. They're a classic, everyone's favorite bug. Teamwork, they can lift stuff really high, they walk around, they're cute. Everyone loves ants. So, yes. But do they have what it takes to be the best bug? So what is it that makes a bug the best bug? Well, there's a couple of different criteria. We need a blend of function. Environmentally, are you doing good? Are you helping other organisms? Or are you just in it for yourself? But also whimsy. Are you fun to look at? Do you have some quirks? Are you funny? That sort of thing. The other thing to keep in mind is kindness. If you're a bug and you're trying to sting me, like we have some of these bugs down here, cockroaches, hornets, leeches. Leeches? Okay, those surely aren't bugs, but you get the idea. If you're trying to be evil, I'm about to enter the sting zone. That's not a very good bug. And the executioner wasp. Here we go. And you do want a bug to look like it wouldn't try to eat you. So think about if the roles were reversed, you were bug sized, bug was human sized. If it would eat you, it's probably not going to be on this list. So that's why we have some like the beetles and the beetles and like cicadas and that sort of thing. They're like okay bugs, but they're kind of scary and they're not great. Then you got your decent bugs, you got your moths, caterpillars, dragonflies, they're all right. But the best bug, well, that's what we're in here for today. So, I know what you're thinking. You have been talking for so long. Get on with it. What is the best bug? Well, I'm so glad you stuck with me this long because I'm about to tell you what the best bug is. So, let's envision a bracket. Okay, so down here we have all of our good bugs. We have our underdogs in italic. We have our classic good bugs in bold, and we also have, I did throw in dragonfly as a little bit of a challenger just to see where that would go. So each bug is going to go head to head until we eventually have a victor. It's a pretty simple bracket. I know a lot of sports fans are following my channel, so you guys will get this, but for the bug fans, this is what a bracket is. Yeah, so let's skip ahead and see the next round. So we do have Ladybug beating out Ant. I'm sure that's not a surprise. Firefly does beat out Butterfly. This might come as a shock to some people, but let's be honest, butterflies are probably not bugs. So that's kind of why Firefly has to win. And Dragonfly is going to beat out Grasshopper, so our challenger is doing pretty well for itself. And the cricket beats the roly-poly just because of that sound, Roly-polies, they're pretty silent. And of course, you talked about the animal abuse thing. So let's go to the semifinals. Yes, indeed, folks. Ladybug was going to beat out Firefly, and the Dragonfly is surprisingly going to make it to the final round. It beat out Cricket. It was pretty close, but Dragonflies are really cool bugs. You can't really see their wings flapping. They're very fast. Some people are really scared of them, which makes sense because you wouldn't want there to be a human-sized dragonfly. But they're, a manageable size. They're pretty fun. And I think we can all at least admit that we have respect for dragonflies. Out of all the bugs, they're definitely one of the coolest. And I think that's not too crazy of a thing to say. But let us cut to the chase. I know you're dying to find out which of these will emerge the victor. So let's duel it out in a fight. Let's go. In this corner, we got the Ladybug, the people's favorite. And in that corner, we have the Dragonfly. Bit of a dark challenger. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm very excited for this fight. Let's see how this goes out. And wait, what? What is this? Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. What? Do you hear that? I swear, do you hear? Oh my god. I have never in my entire life seen this before. What is this? It's a stick bug. The stick bug is the new winner. The stick bug is the best bug. It's been confirmed. The stick bug beats out both the Ladybug and the Dragonfly to become the best winner in a total knockout, complete upset. This was not at all predicted, folks. This is insanity. The stick bug, I can confirm, is the best bug. So let's recap. What have we learned so far? So the stick bug is the best bug. That was a pretty exciting surprise. But I think we also learned something about ourselves, which is that there's not really anything as too much bugs. And here's the thing. I'm going to address the elephant in the room here now. A lot of people, your first reaction to seeing bug or even hearing the word bug is going to go, ew, no. But I think bugs really are something quite magical. And I hope that that magic, at least a little bit of it, is in this video, and I hope you've learned something from this. But I know you're asking me, Theo, is there really such a thing as a best bug? It's a decent question, you know? Yeah, there is. We just covered this. The best bug is the stick bug. If you would remember a couple slides ago, I told you that. Come on. Okay, so that's gonna about wrap it up for me. Do you have a favorite bug? Do you think the best bug is the stick bug, or do you think it was a different one? Do you agree with our ranking choice? Just any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I will fight every single person who leaves a comment, just be aware. And I want to, give a little bit of shout out to longtime fans of this channel. I'm sure you guys know we're finally getting back to the roots and talking about bugs, which I'm sure you're glad to hear about. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to smash that subscribe button, tickle the like button, leave a pesky little comment, ting that notification bell. Tell your friends and family, new bug videos every single day, guys. And stay buggy out there. Yeah, so what'd you think?